Hello and welcome. I wanted to make a video today about forgiveness because that topic has come up quite a few times with my clients this week. So there's something in the air. It seems relevant this week to talk about forgiveness and self-forgiveness in particular. Because we as energetic beings, that's what we are human beings, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and as spiritual beings we are energetic, and when we hold on to something, like when we cannot forgive ourselves, so we are holding ourselves accountable or holding on to something, then we stop the energetic flow. So let me share an example to make that make sense and to show you that why self-forgiveness and allowing ourselves to let go of whatever this thing is we believe we can't forgive ourselves for, why that is so important and why it is also beneficial. Very often when we hold on to something and won't forgive ourselves, we are doing that to punish ourselves because we think we have maybe done something to someone else and we can't forgive what it is we did to this other person. But in actual fact, the other person doesn't benefit either by us holding on. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So when I was in my very unhealthy relationship, abusive relationship you may call it, I did something. My eldest daughter, she was a teenager at the time, and it became unsafe for her to be at home. So I sent her to live with my sister. Rather than leaving this relationship and protecting and being with my daughter, keeping my daughter safe with me, I sent her away. Now later on, there were so many things that happened to all three of my children. And when that relationship ended, then there was a lot for me to forgive myself for. And there was a particular time, a particular incident that happened when another family member actually said, I had started to forgive myself and things were moving on. Then another family member spoke up and said, I didn't deserve happiness. I didn't deserve for my life to be moving on because of the things that had happened to my children. And I could see the truth in that. I could see, there were many things besides that particular thing. There were many other things that had happened that I could have shown up differently for. Or the potential for that existed. And so I went into a place of thinking, this is true. I can't forgive myself. And then my daughter, this particular daughter, actually asked me, she said, please don't go back to the person that you were, which was going to happen if I didn't let go, if I didn't forgive myself. I was going to hold myself as this person, the person that I used to be, and not allow movement forward and change. And so I had to make, and it was a very, very hard decision. I had to make the hard decision to let go of all of the things that I had done that seemed and felt unforgivable, that seemed if I had done those differently, my children would be living a different life now. And what actually happened through that letting go, that energetic shift, that forgiveness of myself, took that away and actually allowed my children to move forward as well. And what I could see is, if I hadn't have forgiven myself for that, if I had have held on to that, even from a place of really believing I've done these terrible things to my children, it's my fault, I don't deserve this, or I need to pay for my mistake, or any of those kinds of things. If I had have held on to that, then they would not have benefited from this shift in energy and this movement. And I would also be teaching them that if they did something wrong, forgiveness wasn't an option. For anything that they moving forward, if they did something, then self-forgiveness is not something you should practice because it is wrong and we don't deserve it. So actually also giving them the messages that it's okay to make mistakes, and we are all going to do that at some point. But if we make a mistake, when we then see the mistake moving forward, because we have wisdom, because we have connection to mind, because we have connection to something bigger than ourselves, we don't have to hold on to this knowledge so that we don't do that moving forward. If we move forward from a space of love within us, that will automatically be like forgiveness helps us to grow. It's actually, if we do something that we then feel that we need to forgive ourselves for, the act of that self-forgiveness is a huge act of growth. And so we'll almost be there because we will have been asking to grow and learn about ourselves. And the other thing to take into consideration is to know that when we get to a space and we are looking at something and can see, sorry, my phone's ringing, and can see that there is a potential here for forgiveness. Like we have done something, and from where we are now standing, we can see that we could have done better. The fact of the matter is, if we went back to that moment with what we knew in that moment, with the person that we were in that moment, the thinking we had that we believed to be true, who we were being, we would not be able to do anything different. And the ability to see, even if it is a millisecond later, the ability, or a week, a month, whatever, the ability to think, oh, that was wrong, is available to us because we now have a different perspective on it. We are being someone else. We have some other thinking available to us. We are someone else in that instance, which is why forgiveness, that's when forgiveness comes in. Now, I'm not saying if we have done something, I'm not saying that there's not a place to apologise potentially. I'm not saying that there's not a place, if there's some way we can put something right, if there is something for us to do, then I'm not saying that any of that is off the table. But the actual act of self-forgiveness is so crucial, because even if we apologise, if we don't forgive ourselves, we are still creating an energetic block. We are still creating difficulties. If there was anyone else involved in this, if there's something, if we can't forgive ourselves for something we have done to someone else, then we are creating an energetic block for them and us. And if we can't forgive ourselves for something and it's only about ourselves, we are creating an energetic block for our own growth. So non-forgiveness actually holds us. It binds us to the act. It binds us to whatever it was we did. Whereas self-forgiveness moves us forward and enables us to see even more wider perspectives, enables us to see more and grow more as we move forward. So it is an incredibly, it is an incredible gift we can give to ourselves, something beautiful that we can do. And one of the ways that we can do it is, as I said, by realizing that with the thinking that we had in that moment that looked real and true to us, we can never outperform the thinking that looks true to us. So we literally had no choice in that moment but to do what we did with the thinking that looked real and true to us. So our job, if there's something to do around the forgiveness, it is to see that was the position that we were in, and then to deepen our understanding of who we are so that we have more available to us as we move forward. So unforgivable things are less likely to occur. Now, will they completely disappear from our lives? I can still see there are times when moments after I've done something, I have deep regret. Why did I do that? I did it because of the thinking that I had that looked real and true in that moment. And forgiveness is the only way now in this moment to do anything about that, to unblock these things, to unbind myself from that act and anybody and everybody else, open that opportunity for anyone and everyone else, and to move forward. And the likelihood that is going to it will happen fewer and fewer times the more that I do that. The more that I hold on and keep myself bound to these things, the more likely I am to have more things, to do more things that I need to be forgiven for. So I hope there was something useful in that for you. Absolutely practice self-forgiveness, practice forgiving of others and self-forgiveness, because it frees us up, it opens the channels, it unbinds us, it keeps that energetic movement and growth available for everyone. Thank you very much. Take care. Lots and lots of love.